Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Fencepost Podcast. They let us have our own edition, so this is the Sergeant Major's edition. I'm State Command Sergeant Major John Ballenger, and with me today I got Sergeant Major Barnes, the G1. I got Sergeant Major Cummings, the 148th CSM, and I got Sergeant Major Ray Kinney. He is fixing to be the 48th Brigade CSM, just selected. So I'm State Command Sergeant Major John Ballenger. I kind of tell you a little bit about myself. Brand new coming into the seat, replacing State Command Sergeant Major, now retired Jeff Logan. Started off in active duty a couple years ago now. Did about 3 or 4 years active in the 118th Field Artillery Airborne up in Fort Wainwright, Alaska. And then I transitioned to the Guard. And when I came in as a 19 Delta Cav Scout in Douglasville, Georgia, and kind of grew up in the infantry world and in the 19 series world, Cav Scout world as well. And so I have been traditional M-Day. I've been on ADOS orders for a while, so I understand how that process kind of works. And then came into the AGR program when I was a E8, E7 back in about 2013. So I've been AGR, active Guard, since 2013. And I have been operations most of my career. I've did some time in the 201st over there, helping some with logistics. I've been in RTI as a branch chief over there with the 35 and 25 series courses. Third of the 108th Cav, I was a first sergeant over there for every unit. I think Ray kind of helped me out. He was there with me, Sergeant Major. Every unit except Charlie Lurse, so HHT, Alpha, Bravo, and 165th Quartermaster, and then as also their battalion's Ops Sergeant Major. Then I was the 48th Brigade Operations Sergeant Major. I've done some time in the G3 as a state training NCO and also the state G3 Operations Sergeant Major as well as the 48th Brigade CSM most recently, and then selected as the State Command Sergeant Major. So what I want to do is just talk a little bit about some things on the horizon as I see them. And then the guest I got here today, my Sergeant's Major, we're just going to kind of talk about stuff as we see, a little bit about NCO progression at all levels. And then we want to talk a little bit about kind of the state of the state or where we see the Georgia Army National Guard going forward. So in order to flatten communications, PAO has kind of helped us talk this through, is to do an addition with the Fencepost Podcast, do a Sergeant's Major podcast too. And to me, I don't want just Sergeant's Major in here going forward. Like, we'll have officers in here, we'll have junior enlisted, warrant officers. And what I want to do is just talk about any topics that we got that affects the force as a whole, right? Not just our enlisted soldiers, but everyone. So, kind of to get to that right quick, if you've got any issues, comments, concerns, topics, whatever, please send that to us. You can hit our Facebook page. You can contact PAO. You can contact me directly. You got Staff Sergeant Varley. However you want to get it to us, just get it to us, some topics, and we'll address them. And shoot, we'll bring you on. If there's something you feel strongly about, let us know, and you want to get on the podcast, we invite you to come on too, because no topic is off limits. We want to talk about everything, right? And what we really want to do is make sure that we can flatten communications and get as much communication and information out to as many soldiers, DOD civilians, everybody we can, so we can continue to be the family that the Georgia Army National Guard is. Cool. So one thing we're going to look at in the future that I'm pretty excited about just coming on board, I've talked to Sergeant Major Barnes a little bit about it and shared it with you, is working with CHOA, which is the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So what we want to do in the early winter, late fall, is we're going to kind of do a T-shirt drive. So in my mind, kind of what I see is every company, battery, and troop throughout the state, that's one thing we do as non-commissioned officers, to build that esprit de corps with our units. And everybody loves a PT T-shirt, right? Everybody loves a hoodie. So what I want to do is to collect some of those T-shirts and hoodies throughout the whole organization, Air and Army Guard. and take it up to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We've been in communication with them. I think this year we're probably going to go to Eggleston, is what it looks like, maybe in October, early November. And then we're gonna give those T-shirts out to the children there that are in their own battles right now, and just spend some time with them, talk to them, and then also talk to the doctors, the nurses, the caregivers out there too. Show them some love as well. Maybe get some T-shirts and hoodies with them, and then take some pictures and show, hey, this is our family. This is what our family looks like, and represent the whole force just with a T-shirt, And that's something small to me. But I'll tell you, in the past, we've done that in the 108th Cav, and it has made an absolute tremendous impact on some of those families when some of the kids out there, they're in those really bad struggles, love those T-shirts and they wear them every day, So if we can bring a little bit of joy to them, kind of get in the fight with them as much as we can, help motivate them and kind of build up, their motivation, and I think that's good to do. So we're going to kind of drive that, and we'll put some stuff on Facebook out about that. If your company, battery, or troop wants to help us out and show some love to that. So what I want to kind of open it up to right now is a little bit of our NCO progression, and I got the G1 Sergeant Major in here for a reason today, and one reason is we just did our EPS list, and I'll tell you, in the past it hasn't went well. We thought we could change that a little bit, but yet again, here we are, and we're not able to select close to half of our force due to height and weight, ACFT data, that kind of stuff. So I'll kind of open that conversation up with you, Sergeant Major.
So we had a total of 591 vacancies throughout the state, and we were only able to fill 251. And we had over 540 soldiers who were bypassed due to height and weight, area consideration, and ACFT. 148 of those soldiers were E4s that we could not promote to E5s based off of their height and weight. I have been going out to the battalions, doing site visits, taking my team, and just discussing with the battalions and what can we do to better at the state level, the G1 level, to better assist you all. I don't know the answers to why height and weights are not being placed in the system, or is height and weight not being conducted every 6 months. Maybe that's something maybe Sergeant Major Cummings and Sergeant Major Kinney can dive into, because I'm in the G1 and I focus on G1 staff during drill weekend, and just want to know your input on height and weight.
Those that don't know my voice, Command Sergeant Major Ray Kinney, incoming 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, CSM. So what we did to talk about height, weight, and ACFT data was during the implementation or the attempted onboarding of said ACFT, is we took numerous diagnostics, numerous height and weights, and made sure those were input. Got a numerous number of soldiers on the Army Body Composition Program that weren't meeting the standard. And so then what we found at some point in time is, through the turmoil of onboarding the ACFT, is all the data that we did have input that we were making sure we followed up on that was in the system was wiped clean. So we had to start from scratch again in inputting the data. And so what we found out after XCTC, that the current State Sergeant Major, when he was V7, as soon as we got done with that, I remember coming back out of that, what better time to do height, weight. Everybody's been emaciated for 3 weeks.
Got lean because they didn't eat for 2.5 weeks.
Right. Apparently nobody likes MREs, so they just decided to drink water and sweat out all the extra that they had. So we did a height, weight when we got back. I know I was at 3rd Battalion at that point in time, and I watched it for each company go through and the data was input at that time. So I don't know if there was another wipe after that, but what we get to is you really have to follow up, like your platoon sergeant or your squad leader or your team leader, once they get that data, in my opinion, and that goes up to the training NCO, who typically has the access, your active duty training NCO, to input those things. It's got to be followed up on. You got one guy, if you're in a battalion or a squadron, you're looking at 400 some odd plus personnel of data that has to be put in for each company, battery, troop by that training NCO. Not saying that it should be done without having to have that follow-up, right? That's the job that is incumbent upon us at that level. But we got to make sure we do the follow-up. We have to in place a system of checks and balances at that level that the readiness NCO needs to do, that battalion or squadron operations NCOIC or Sergeant Major has to go back in and do those scrubs and check and make sure they're done with those reminders going out via the Frago, via your WhatsApp, via your signals to get those in. There's a myriad of ways to keep following up on it and get it done, and there's also some soldier responsibility in that well.
Well, I'll tell you, with the EPS, and I really didn't know y'all did this, but the G1, the day before the EPS, the G1 is reaching down to the company battery and troop levels and going, hey guys, hey gals, like your height and weight is not current. Your ACFT is not current. So they're going above and beyond what really their obligations to us are to try to get as many people and affect as many as we can. And I tell you, I know our readiness and training NCOs got a lot on their plate. I don't disregard that. I know they do. But damn it, I am absolutely accountable for my own progression. I am. And our soldiers are. They have to be accountable for their own progression. But if they do a height and weight, and that readiness and training NCO don't input that data, my recommendation is that soldier needs to go in with their frontline leader and their first sergeant and stand in front of that readiness and training NCO and go, explain to me now why I'm not getting promoted and you're taking money out of my pocket and my family's pocket because you didn't take the time to input the data. I'm not saying that's all of it, but I'm telling you, when you do that and that starts happening, a lot of that stuff's going to go away. I guarantee it. Sergeant Major.
So kind of going to that, right, you're going to have some people are afraid of confrontation, bottom line. And I know, because you reminded me, like I remember Sergeant Morrow, yourself, like y'all, I think y'all didn't, you went so as far as to tell us and then to send us a list of who needed to be updated.
Yes.
So don't get me wrong when I say the onus is on a little bit everybody, and it is, but like you're saying, Sergeant Major Ballenger, like at this point now, in our role as, as the first sergeant or that battalion ops or the sergeant major, now we got to go in there and put that down on the council and really hold their feet to the fire. And then when their NCOER comes out, you're like, guess you're not going to make the list either because you can't do your basic of responsibilities. And the only reason we have a job in the AGR force, which if anyone doesn't know, I'm also AGR as well, is to take care of the M-Day soldier. Because they don't have the DTMS access. They don't have the ATMS access. They don't have the access to go back and double check that somebody had their best interest in mind and made sure that they were on the list if they did what they would do. So yeah, good point on that, Sergeant Major.
So Sergeant Major Cummins, like y'all have done a great job in the 148 with your ACFT. It's lost on me that we're now in year 3 really of doing ACFT, and we still can't get the E9s to take the doggone ACFT, right? So just so everybody can hear me in earshot of my voice, right? I have directed the brigade sergeants major to send me a list of everybody who has and who has not taken the ACFT in the rank of E9, because I feel like if we're going to drive that, then we've got to start with ourselves and look at it, right? And those who haven't taken it, by the suspense date, they can come take one with me, right? I don't care at that point, but we're all going to take one, and then we have to have our units have got to take the doggone ACFT.
Well, Sergeant Major, so part of it, training may have not input certain things in, but what are we doing with the soldiers who are just not completing their height and weight or ACFT? What if it's not the unit, or You
mean not passing?
Not taking it or not going to conduct their height and weight. If you have a unit and the first sergeant says we're taking our height and weight today, and the soldier keeps missing their height and weight, what are we doing from there?
Yeah, it's just like what we do with everything is we need to counsel the soldier, not counsel the soldier, but counsel those behaviors. That's what we're getting after is behaviors.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, I'm going to kind of shift it just a little bit on NCOERs, but a great segue into evaluations is every evaluation I've ever had, it talks about me, what I've done, what I've done in the past, my potential on that evaluation. What I like to do is get our NCOs, and for those raters and senior raters, which is the majority of the officer corps out there, is to look at rating our company battery and troop first sergeants, platoon sergeants, battalion sergeant majors, and brigade sergeant majors, not on yourself, but what has your company battery and troop, battalion, and brigade doing? What do those metrics look like, right? Because we're a team. So we need to start looking at, hey, I'm going to evaluate you, not just on you personally, but I'm going to evaluate you on how good your soldiers are. Because to me, that's where your leadership is.
How you influence the formation.
That's exactly right. Because that's our job. Is to influence change in a positive way and get our soldiers ready for the fight. So that's how I'm going to drive evaluations going forward.
And that's exactly how I do my first sergeants, and they know exactly what it is. I'm not rating you how great of a first sergeant you are, how great of a leader you are. What do your numbers say? Because you are what your numbers say you are. So if you got 20 late evaluations, you're struggling as a first sergeant to me. If 65% of your soldiers have not completed DLC, you're struggling as a first sergeant. So it's not about how much I like you, or how great great our relationship is. How great are your numbers? How great are your numbers? What do your numbers say you are? And that's pretty much how I rank them as first sergeants when I'm getting when I'm giving my battalion commander feedback on the senior rated comments. We rate you 1 through 5 based on how well your numbers say you are performing as a senior leader, not by how much I like you. That means very little to me.
Hey team, thanks for tuning in to part 1 of the Georgia Fencepost Podcast, Sergeant Majors edition. Hey, be on the lookout for part 2. It's going to come out sometime in August, and make sure that you follow the Fence Post on your podcast streaming platforms.